What's going on, everyone? So the New York Knicks have discovered a loophole that could impact the rest of the NBA going forward. And we're going to dive into this here in a moment because I think that this is incredibly fascinating. So the Knicks discovered a new loophole in the CBA. Teams in their situation cannot aggregate minimums anymore. So in the sign and trades of Jeffries, Brown, and Washington, they are paying each of those guys just $1 above the minimum, league sources tell at The Athletic. So the New York Knicks were able to complete the trade for Karl Anthony Towns with the Minnesota Timberwolves, sending Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, again, there were other kind of vet minimum guys that were exchanged in those deals. But the question was like, how are the Knicks going to be able to pull this off, right? Like, you have to work out signing trades, and they can't really, do that with some of these guys, and you can't do the vet minimum. Like, how is this going to work, right? Because the Knicks and the Timberwolves were unable to take on more salary. That's why they had to get a third team involved, Charlotte Hornets. They were willing to take on guys, but again, you can't aggregate salaries because of the new aprons. And the new CBA is incredibly restrictive, especially when it comes to trades. That's why you're not seeing as many trades. That's why you're seeing so many GMs and stuff talk about how things are just a lot more difficult right now. And it's kind of been overkill, right? If we're being honest. The NBA kind of just went the extreme with this new CBA and basically prevented teams from really upgrading via trade. And the idea was to kind of prevent super teams and all that stuff. But you also prevented any type of just normal trades in a lot of ways for these teams. Because the teams that are really looking to make trades are teams that are trying to win, trying to compete, right? How often does a bottom feeding team make a significant trade, right? Usually it's just hey, we're trying to unload this vet minimum guy, so give us this vet minimum guy, right? It's usually just kind of irrelevant, kind of linear trade. Right? Now, maybe they'll take a flyer on a young guy, whatever. But very rarely is it a real trade. It's usually those bad teams trading with a team that's trying to win, or two teams that kind of want to shuffle the deck a little bit, right? They end up pulling off trades. But the workaround and loophole now is you just give $1 more than the vet minimum. Right? So the vet minimums are set. It depends on your experience and years in the league and stuff like that. But the minimums are the minimums. And anything over that is classified no longer as a minimum per NBA standards. So the reason I think that this implements the entire NBA is, does it get rid of the vet minimum contract? Now, I don't mean get rid of the vet minimum contract in the sense of teams are now they're just going to get $5 million instead of $3 million. No, what I mean is, it may still be advertised as the vet minimum. This guy just signed a vet minimum contract, but really it's the vet minimum plus $1 or plus 10, right? Whatever, right? I don't think say the vet minimum is $3 million, right? Again, it varies depending on the players, and experience in the league and whatnot. But let's just say for simple math and argument's sake, say it's $3 million, right? Well, now, if you're an apron team and you're restricted by the new CBA and all that stuff, right, you can't aggregate multiple vet minimum contracts. So you can't take 3 vet minimum contract guys and go get a $10 million guy, right? But if all 3 of those guys are making $3 million and $1 by league standards, they're no longer making vet minimums. So you can now aggregate those contracts. I think that this is an incredible workaround. Now, this isn't going to be so insanely impactful that it's going to be, the league's ruined. Oh no, it's not going to be anything like that. This will be kind of an outlier thing. But the actual signing of the contracts, I don't think will be. I can see going forward teams no longer giving just that straight vet minimum. Again, let's just say it's $3 million. They'll always give $3 million and $1. Just for the sake of, if down the road at any point they need to aggregate those guys, they can now do so. Better to just, because again, you're talking a dollar in the scope of millions, right? It's better to just give up that extra dollar, and now you have the flexibility in case you ever need it, then, oh no, we need to keep that dollar, and now you don't have that flexibility, and the opportunity presents itself to maybe make a significant upgrade or trade or whatever, right? You need to fill in some salary. And it's like, we don't have another $5 million guy, but we have 2 vet minimum guys. Man, we didn't give them that extra dollar, so we can't stack them in order to go and pull off this trade. Get the point? Like, and I don't think the league will do anything about this because, one, can't really do much. The CBA is the CBA, right? These are the things you agreed to. There's always workarounds. There's always loopholes, right? Like, example, the Warriors were able to find a workaround and loophole when they got Kevin Durant. Right? It was kind of like the last push before things changed. And, the NBA, again, is always going to try to hinder, and because they want, parity throughout the league. They don't want just like a handful of teams dominating every season. But, to be honest, it's shown that super teams and having, a couple teams is good for the league, right? Because you have 2 camps. You have the camp that wants to see them lose and fall, and then you have the camp that wants to see all these guys win, right? And it's shown over and over and over again that usually has success, right? People still watch. People want to watch the stars. But I also don't think teams that are willing to pony up should be punished, right? Like, the NBA has changed as a whole, period, right? The days of the Lakers being the Lakers because they're in LA and that's where you're going to get the most money isn't really as significant anymore. It's still a thing just because of the weather and the beach and the nightlife and things like that. There's still things that are appealing for like places like Miami, like LA, right? But there was a time where it was like, if you aren't in LA or New York or wherever, you're not making the money that you could be making, right? So you had this appeal of players that would want to go to those places. Well, now with social media and brand deals and the reach that these players have, you can be anywhere and make, $1 billion. It doesn't have to necessarily be in LA, right? If you're going to a place like LA or Miami or whatever, you're probably doing it because that's just where you want to be, right? And there's other reasons besides money that you want to be there. Right? So I just think that why punish teams that are willing to improve and be better? Why do you want, like, yes, it's frustrating, when you get these Warrior dynasties where they win every year. But again, like, the Warriors were willing to do that. Right? Like the Boston Celtics were willing to do that. The Knicks are pushing all their chips in to do that. Right? Like, again, even these small market teams are making insane money. They're making more money than they've ever made in their history, right? So them going in, and if they really want to push their chips in, problem is you got a lot of owners that they don't really care so much about winning. They just want to make as much money as possible. Well, why are you punishing everybody for that? I'm not saying you shouldn't have a salary cap or anything like that, because last thing you want is just, whichever team has, like Steve Ballmer. I mean, that guy's got more money than every team owner in the league combined, right? You don't want somebody like Steve Ballmer coming in and basically paying, whatever, prime LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Dwight Howard, and you don't want them building some insane super team where it's just like they're going to win 82 games every year for the next 10 years, right? Like, you don't want something like that. I do think that there needs to be restrictions, but I don't think that they need to go this extreme with those restrictions, right? They've gone, instead of finding a common ground, they've really just kind of like, we're just going to sabotage and prevent any chances. But there's always loopholes. There's always workarounds, right? And the first offseason of this CBA, the Knicks have already found that workaround. And the NBA is a copycat league. Everybody is going to use these loopholes. Everyone's going to do this workaround, and teams are probably going to find others. Creative front offices are always going to find a way, right? Good GMs are always going to find a way, right? You just saw the Knicks find a way. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you make of this news? Do you think that this is interesting as I do? Do you think not going to impact anything? It's not going to change anything. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a huge. I don't think every team in the league now just all the trades are back. No, I just think this is something that opens up things a little more. Right now, if you need a salary dump or something, you don't have to find multiple teams. You can just find that one team that's willing to take on 2 or 3 vet minimum guys. I think teams will just be more on the safe side and give that extra dollar or whatever, so that way they can capitalize on the potential being there, right? Better to do it, and now it's the opportunity presented itself. Cool, we can do it. Then you don't do it, the opportunity presents itself, and it's we can't even pull off this trade, right? But again, I have a feel whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.